Meantime, now to our other top story here at 3. Local leaders pushing a proposal that would allow non-citizens to vote in LA city elections.
This is a yes or no question and answer. So there's an LA council member. He wants voters to decide. He is saying that non-citizens, should they be allowed to vote in local elections? Is this a yes or no? Mr. Pratt?
No.
Mayor Bass?
It depends. It's not a yes or no.
Member Bremen?
Yeah, I would say, again, it does depend. In other places, school boards have non-citizens.
Yes or no?
Good afternoon, beautiful people, and happy Thursday. So if you haven't heard, the Los Angeles City Council has voted to move forward a proposal that could allow non-citizens to vote in city elections. The proposal advanced on a 10-5 vote and now heads towards the November ballot, where Los Angeles voters will ultimately decide whether to approve it. And if you're wondering whether this only applies to federal elections, the answer is no. Those who support this bill says that it will only apply to local, city, and school board elections, not state or federal races. But regardless of the scope, this proposal certainly raises a much bigger question. What exactly does citizenship mean if voting is no longer tied to citizenship? Let's talk about it. Welcome to Nellie and Miranda. As always, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Okay, so before we get any further, let's be clear about what happened. The Los Angeles City Council voted to replace a charter amendment before voters. The proposal was championed by Council Member Hugo Soto Martinez, who argues that people who live, work, pay taxes, and raise families in Los Angeles should have a voice in local government, even if they are not U.S. citizens. Supporters of the bill point out that some immigrants have lived in Los Angeles for decades. Some owned businesses, some have children in public schools, and some pay property taxes and sale taxes. So their argument is that if local government affects their daily lives, why shouldn't they have a say in local government?
Annabelle, we do want to reiterate the conversation surrounds voting in local elections. This would not apply to federal elections, and it still has a long way to go. Nevertheless, even though it was just introduced yesterday, it is already getting a lot of attention. People have many questions, so here's what you need to know. Currently, the city charter requires people voting in city elections to meet the voter eligibility requirements of the state of California, which is to be a U.S. citizen. However, Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez, whose district includes Hollywood, Silver Lake, and Echo Park, introduced a motion to change the charter. That motion calls for amending the charter to allow the city council to expand voting to non-citizens for local elections like mayor and city council. He says it's too early to know if the proposal would include undocumented people as well as green card holders. He also says this proposal is about representation, but some opponents say voting is a right fundamentally reserved for Americans.
I certainly recognize that we have folks living in this country who've been here 20 years, they've started a family, they pay their taxes, many of them are homeowners, but they don't have a say over the policies that affect their children and their families on any given day. The motion only asks to seek to explore whether we want to head in that direction. I think the details of who's going to be involved, how we're going to do it, all that needs to get sussed out.
See, I understand their sympathies and all, but it is a no for me. For generations, voting has been viewed as one of the most important rights and responsibilities of American citizenship. People come to America from all over the world with the dream of becoming citizens. Many immigrants spend years navigating paperwork, background checks, fees, interviews, and citizenship tests. Some wait decades. Some serve in the military. Some study American history and government to earn that citizenship. So naturally, many Americans are asking, if citizenship is no longer required to vote in local elections, what incentive remains to become a citizen? That question needs answers, so let me know in the comments.
Generally speaking, though, most people still have this concept that the franchise ought to be limited to people who are full-fledged members of American society, and that certainly should not be extended to people who are in the country illegally.
And this proposal is far from a done deal. It now goes to the City Council Rules Committee. If passed out of committee, it would still need to clear approval by the entire City Council to go before voters on the November ballot. Voters would then be asked whether or not they want to give the City Council the ability to expand voting to non-citizens. If voters say yes, the City Council would then have to decide if they actually want to do this, if they actually want to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. If they decide yes, they want to do that, then the mayor would have to sign off as well.
If it's Karen Bass or Nithya Raman, they will absolutely sign this foolish bill into law. This debate really isn't about Los Angeles anymore. This is becoming a national issue because whenever a major city like Los Angeles moves in this direction, people wonder if other cities will follow. Could New York expand non-citizen voting? What about Chicago, Seattle, or even Portland? Karen Bass and Nithya Raman could not answer yes or no when asked if non-citizens should vote. They said it's complicated. It's debatable.
We have a very important topic, so let's talk about immigration. Immigration, after what happened last year, that was a really big deal. So I want to ask you all three. This is a yes or no question, an answer. So there's an LA council member. He wants voters to decide. He is saying that non-citizens, should they be allowed to vote in local elections? Is this a yes or no? Mr. Pratt?
No.
Mayor Bass?
It depends. It's not a yes or no.
Depends on what?
Well, first of all, when you say non-citizens, it doesn't mean they're here illegal. It doesn't mean they're undocumented. They could have green cards. They could be here perfectly legal. And there's a lot of states and cities that do that on very, very local elections. We have to see what the councilman is proposing.
Councilmember Bremen?
Yeah, I would say, again, it does depend. In other places, school boards have non-citizens.
Yes or no?
Non-citizens who vote
Mr. Fred, I have a question for you. You told NBC News a few...
And just so you know, Los Angeles wouldn't be the first city to allow non-citizens to vote. Several jurisdictions around the country have experimented with forms of non-citizen voting in local elections. San Francisco, some Maryland municipalities, and other local governments have adopted similar policies. So this isn't completely unprecedented, but Los Angeles is different. We're talking about one of America's largest cities, a city with millions of residents, a city that often serves as a trendsetter for progressive policy, which is exactly why this vote is drawing so much national attention. Have you ever noticed how the language around this debate has changed? Years ago, those skeptical of mass immigration were told nobody is talking about giving non-citizens voting rights. Now we're having that discussion in one of America's largest cities, and we're not talking about federal elections, only local elections and school boards because it affects their daily lives. Well, if we keep this up, next it is important that they vote for the presidency because the presidency directly affects immigration laws. We better stop this while we're ahead. Well, first of all, non-citizens have been voting in LA for a long time. They're just trying to make it above board now. They've already been paying the homeless to vote, letting people vote with gym membership cards. And who's to say that a large portion of these voters aren't non-citizens?
In California, you are prohibited from asking for somebody's identification before they vote.
We just found out through the U.S. attorney there that you can register to vote with a gym membership card. How ridiculous is that?
Well, and of course, we know that Gold's Gym would probably hand out a gym membership to anybody who's willing to pay, including, for example, an illegal alien. And we joke about this, Jesse, but that's why these elections don't have the legitimacy they need.
But to circle back to the new bill that California is trying to pass, I think many Americans are asking themselves, where do we draw the line? If non-citizens can vote in school board elections, why not city council races? If not city council races, why not county races? If county races, why not state races? Then federal races, so on and so forth. So again, those who support and oppose the bill will answer those questions very differently. But once a principle changes, people naturally wonder where it eventually leads. So what are your thoughts? Should non-citizens who live, work, and pay taxes in a city be allowed to vote in local elections? Or should voting remain a right reserved exclusively for U.S. citizens? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you got any value from today's video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. and ring the bell so you don't miss any future updates. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.